Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys we'll be profiling my friend Will's Dinosaur deck that he's done pretty good here at Locals with, thanks to some new support from the Dino Wrestlers, is that correct? The new Cyber Dragon?
Dino Wrestlers.
Yeah, the new Dino Wrestlers. Mainly the new Cyber Dragon Dino Wrestler, which he'll explain has really helped him out in the deck. So without further ado, I will let him take over and talk about the deck.
Alright, before I begin this profile, I just want to say shout outs to my boy Misael for giving me this lovely Ghost Reaper mat.
Halloween time.
Best hand trap, by the way. Fight me if you don't agree with me. On to the main deck. First off, the heart and soul of any dinosaur deck, 3 Oviraptor. I shouldn't have to explain too much, but for those of us who don't know what he does, it's real simple. Whenever he's normal or special summoned, I'm either going to search a dinosaur or send it to the graveyard. And then Oviraptor's second effect, I target one level 4 lower dinosaur on either player's side of the field. That sometimes comes up a lot.
Correct.
I destroy it, and if I do, I special summon one from the graveyard. Because it's first I destroy, then I special.
Yeah.
If you say, for instance, destroy a baby, you'll still get whatever it is you target, and even if they ask the baby, you still have access to a rank 4. Oviraptor is actually very powerful in the deck. In my honest opinion, I care a lot more about this guy than actually resolving Tyranno, but of course you still play Tyranno. Next up, I play Double Giant Rex. The reason for this, once I go into the extra deck, it'll be better explained, but sometimes this thing gets evenly, just want access to another Rex, and at this Locals, people love playing Inspector Borders, so more cards to crash into or run it over if you have Lost World is always nice. If nothing else, he's an Earth.
Yeah. And we apologize if it's a little bit loud, we are at Locals. Yep.
This is something that I've noticed I only do, but I play triple
really?
Overtext. My reason for this is drawing this card is not necessarily good, but sometimes you actually still want to have the overtext in deck. When I play with the deck a lot, I do notice it's like, okay, I really wish I had an overtext to special summon from either the hand or deck, but because you have to send an overtext to the graveyard off of Oviraptor to search the pill, sometimes you run out of them a little quickly, so you got to play at least 2, but the problem with only playing 2 is that if you draw 1 and then you have to send the other, your combos are somewhat suboptimal.
Understood.
So pray that you don't end up breaking all 3. If you do, then just scoop.
Has that happened anytime recently?
Not recently, but once that has actually happened, but if they don't kill me, I still just end up winning because Quatless is pretty good. 3 Good Baby. Pure and simple, Good Baby allows me to get anything from the deck if it's destroyed by card effects, barring the new Pankratops, but this gets Oviraptor, who gets me Pankratops anyway. Double Sabersaurus. The reason for these normals is pure and simple. I like this over Megalo Smasher X because of Mrs. Radiant. The attribute matters a lot.
Ah, I see.
And the main reason I play these normals, everybody and their grandma always has the Ogre against me, so if I have Lost World, I literally just summon Sabersaurus, I punch into whatever, I'll take this much damage because 19, your guy is probably not that much stronger, I trigger a baby, and since everything's happening during the damage step, by the time you get to Ogre me, I really don't care anymore.
Gotcha.
And then triple bad baby. I play around with the ratio on this a lot, but the reason why I call him the bad one is because he can only get 4 or higher, but they can't swing. But he's not as horrible anymore because he gets Pankratops, and that came up a lot today.
And you say the reason you ran the Sabersaurus is because you want to use that to go for Mrs. Radiant, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Double Tyranno. There have been times where I wanted to play a 3rd, but if you drop both of these, you should have won by now. Especially with Quatless, you end up banishing one, you just shuffle it back into the deck. They're never getting rid of this guy unless they like strike you to death, but at that point you just need to poke him.
Now what about this Jurak card over here, I see?
The Jurak card, I play this for a couple of reasons. There's a level 7 Synchro Black Rose Moonlight Dragon that I like playing whenever I side into Kaijus. More importantly, on the Lost World, this guy is bigger than almost anybody, and when I run over something, I can launch him at the end phase to draw 2 cards. So if I'm sitting on Tyranno, I can draw into a baby and a hand trap, or a hand trap, sometimes both.
You contribute him and draw. That's not bad.
And draw cards. And sometimes he's needed to go for desperate Yazi plays. Yazi blows himself up. That's a dinosaur and a non-dinosaur. Pill.
Why he plays that over Aeolo? Hey, Will, why don't you play Aeolo?
Aeolo's not necessarily terrible, but if I end up drawing this and like no busted quote-unquote combos, most decks don't play anything that's over 16 that's meta relevant. So worst case scenario, it's a draw 2. Aeolo, the only thing I have going for me is a Link Karibo. Now with Needle Fiber, I would probably play Aeolo just because it's like that much more free. But until then, I find this to be the better outlet.
You mean Jarak Aeolo, the level 1 guy,
And sometimes banishing 3 dinos is what you need to summon Quatless from hand. There's that too. Levels matter.
Hey, Will, how come you never break?
Because life is hard. 2 Ogre. I only believe in 2 just because some people do like to chain block, but having Ogre is still pretty good. It stops, what is it, multi-roll. You don't want that resolving because then they get 4 cards and it's like, what is this, bro? This isn't Yu-Gi-Oh! And popping random rogue deck cards is nice. Like this came up against Diagram. The one miscellaneous sword because, you know, Konami, just bring this back to 3 already, or at least 2.
If that card went to 2, we got 1.
Double Ash. Ash is actually very great. The only reason I don't play 3 is because whatever it is I'd actually want to Ash is going to chain block their stuff anyway.
With Call by the Grave or something like stupid. Yeah.
No, I'm talking stuff like a Soul Day and then Goki number 1, Goki number 2.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Like, she's still kind of good when they want to special summon from the deck, but I'd rather rely on Veiler. But Ash is still good against power spells.
Gotcha.
Watching them lose 11 cards off of Desires is funny. Double Pankratops.
So explain this, since this is a new card from Soul Fusion.
Now, while Pankratops is not as busted in every deck as everybody says it is, in Dinosaurs, this thing actually brings it up a notch or 2. The reason for this is, as I've already said, even though this isn't level 6, Oviraptor still searches it, and if, as long as they control more monsters than you, you're going second deck, you'll just special summon it. My opponent tried floodgating me with, what was it, Gozen match. I'm like, okay, that's adorable. Check this out. Special. Pop your Gozen match. Continue my play. Oh, I didn't kill you? I'll just pop a baby, special summon this back from the graveyard in defense. Doesn't matter. And then make a rank 4. So you'll be dealing with whatever rank 4 I want in this in defense. And the fact that it's level 7, you can special summon it off of Evolution Pill.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, because Evolution Pill is any level 7 or higher dinosaur, and you are 7 exactly.
So he's got so much versatility with the deck, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and once again, if you're forced to make a bad play with Miscellaneous Sword to special summon the bad baby, it's not as awful anymore because you can still special summon this, and then they have to deal with it.
And it's not like Cyber Dragon, like, it just says as long as your opponent has more monsters, right?
Correct.
So even if you had a monster on the field, and they
it
had,
really
like,
wouldn't matter.
Yep, sweet.
And what I really love about this, if my opponent has a board, I just special summon this, I give them the token, I run over their guy, I pop the token during battle phase, I activate the field spell, and just go off.
Nice.
Triple Veiler, because as I said, I personally say this is the more reliable hand trap because they can't chain block this. If they're that good and they have the Call by the Grave, they're that good.
Fossil Dig.
Obvious is obvious, the triple Fossil Dig. This searches for almost anything in the deck, and whatever this doesn't search, Oviraptor's going to get me too. Triple Lost World, and then the double Terraforming in order to search it out. I will say, if you play this deck, be very careful about giving them the token, because if you don't have a follow-up plan and they Link Karibo you, you're not having fun. But outside of that, if they don't actually have the ability to out the token, this is actually very good against Sky Striker, because the moment you summon anything,
they can't use their
their spells anymore. Like, they have to force activate their Widow Anchor, and if you summon Sabersaurus, that's another reason I play Sabersaurus. You can't Widow Anchor it. Because you have to negate the effect, and since Sabersaurus never had one to begin with,
that works.
Double Evo Pill. You can play 3. It came up in one of my games today, but at that point, you really don't want to end up breaking off the 3rd. And you typically win off of 2 anyway. If you do find room, then yes, do play 3, but 2 has been more than enough. 1 Foolish Burial. This Foolish is my Giant Rexes, my Miscellaneous Swords, my Quatless. Sometimes I literally just activate this, force the bait out with Ash, and then just summon Ovi and like just not even care anymore.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, you can bury a hand trap to make this alive. And I'm planning to go in second deck, so I typically just blind main deck these. I do play these double survivals end on the off chance they force me to go first, but even then this is still very good off of Twin Twisters. I will explain what the card does because some of us probably don't know what it is.
Yeah, because it's a card we haven't used like since like what the structure that came out originally. Yeah.
This destroys as many normal monsters on board as possible, and if I do, I will special summon up to that many dinosaurs in its place. So it's the trap version of Token Collector, for instance. But instead of 1 monster, I can have 4 if they are nice enough to scapegoat me during their end phase. Another reason why this card is really good is because if this is in your graveyard, there's no breakthrough clause. You banish it, target 1 dinosaur card I control and 1 card they control, destroy them. So even like, let's say in a Paleo matchup, because this came up like a month ago, you have yourself a baby, they have a back row, you pop the back row, you pop the back row, you pop the baby. Even if they banish the baby, this will still banish their back row. And if they don't, you're still negging the card off of them.
You're setting up, you're clearing the board away for stuff too.
Correct.
I understand this.
We'll start with the extra deck. 2 Dirac tokens because that's how we play the deck. 1 Saryuja. Sometimes you can get 4 monsters out of nowhere with this deck, and Saryuja is very good because not only does he force me to put non-dinosaurs in the deck, like if Logia's used up and I don't need it anymore, just turn it into Link fodder. Being able to special summon cards from the hand is very good. And I can draw cards and put to the bottom bricks that you might have drawn. So if I ever draw multiple Quatlesses, I draw into a couple cards, just put one of them on the bottom, yada yada.
Gotcha.
Mrs. Radiant actually comes up a lot in this deck. There are instances where she dies it, you can get like any baby in your graveyard, and then if you have a Quatless or a Raptor, then you just, sorry, a Quatless or a Tyranno, you can just pop the baby and do things. And since Pankratops happens to be an Earth, if they destroy this and you have a Pankratops engraved, you literally just add it back to your hand and just drop Pankratops on them again next turn. Oh yeah, and it's plus 500 for every Earth monster, so all my guys, including Pankratops, gets really big. 1 Underclock. This is mainly to out Ibly because this is just any to affect monsters. I don't like playing Mermaid because I'd rather play a card that advances my plays. And on rare occasions, this will guarantee the OTK. 1 Babushka. Bad card, but he's good against bad decks. And since he's an Earth, I can turn him into Mrs. Radiant if I don't need him anymore.
Gotcha.
1 Ragnar because this card is absolutely amazing on the Lost World. Since anything your opponent plays that isn't a dinosaur will have less attack than normal, you just detach with Ragnar 0, pop and draw. And this is during either player's turn. She is a quick effect. So you can get Disruption, get a draw. Real nice. The 1 Dole Cow. Whenever your opponent activates a monster effect anywhere, you just detach one and negate it, and then double Logia. Whenever your opponent would normal summon or special summon by their own effect, so a Link, an XYZ, a Synchro, you detach 2, or if they activate a spell and trap. This is actually pretty good against Sky Striker. This is alright if you want to stop Ray nonsense. I play the Dweller because sometimes it comes up. Mirror Match, BA, stops Ray.
Yep.
1 Castell to just spin back stuff, and if I just want to get 2 dinosaurs in graveyard to banish and do things. Rebellion Dragon also guarantees the OTK under certain instances because it cuts them in half.
Yep.
My deck, even though I can get a lot of monsters on board, sometimes they're not effect monsters, which is why one of these isn't a Boral Sword. That and under Tyranno, I should have killed them by then. 1 Tornado Dragon, Pops back row. Simple enough. During either player's turn. Good against field spells. And then for the level 7 synchros I was talking about, one Moonlight Rose and one Yazi. Moonlight Rose is real good whenever you side into kaijus because you give them the kaiju, you special summon this, you bounce your kaiju back to your hand, and then you just give it back to them if they have another monster, or if they summon anything you don't want to deal with, you just give them the kaiju again. Yazi I like because sometimes having no non-dinosaurs is actually kind of hard. So, preferably with Oviraptor or Rex, because that's how you make him, you synchro summon into Yazi, Yazi will pop himself, and since Yazi's a worm and not a dinosaur, you just banish him and any random dinosaur and have fun.
And you're good. Yep.
So he comes up if you don't already have a non-dino in grave. And then last but not least, Trishula. My deck is still capable of making it even though I don't play Iolo. I just popped the good baby to special summon Drag Dino, special summon another baby from the grave. 3, 4, 2 make Trish. It's not that bad since the baby's probably in graveyard already.
Gotcha. And you want to show us your side deck?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I know, this is a trap deck.
He's a former Paleo player, so don't hate him.
If I'm ever forced to go first because people know what I play, I like siding these in because not only is it disruption, they have a card that they want to resolve, you just banish it. But most of your cards outside of Oviraptor and I guess Tyranno don't really care if they get set to graveyard. In fact, Rex prefers being in the graveyard. Miscellaneousaur still has an effect.
Yep.
And since this discards as part of the effect and not cost, if you end up sending Quatless, not only do you banish something of theirs, you're getting a pill for next turn.
Makes sense. Works well.
And this is very funny against trap-heavy decks because the moment they do anything, it's a monster. And more importantly, it's a normal monster. So if they try to run it over, Lost World will trigger it.
That's nice.
Triple draw. I literally only do this against Sky Striker and maybe Goki if they didn't open Busted. Because in almost any other deck, I'm not going to say that it's bad, but most decks should be capable of playing under this. If you know they can't, then sure. This is kind of nice against Pendulum Magicians depending on their variants. Double Hanawana because I keep running into those disgusting FTK players and I am not losing to that.
Hanawana, oh my gosh.
And if nothing else, Hand Trap gets sent to grave, Pell Fodder.
True.
One Spider and double Dogoron, the non-dinosaur kaiju and searchable kaijus.
Yep.
I'm not sure if I would keep 2 just because it hasn't come up yet, but side decking at least the 1 is still
Have
good.
you thought of main decking one just for the certain matchups, or?
For certain matchups, I'd like it, but the thing is, Pankratops handles almost anything a kaiju would have taken care of anyway,
So
bar an Omega.
You would say Pankratops over this nowadays.
Yeah,
Before
nowadays.
that, definitely possible. Okay.
So the only time I would ever prefer this over Pankratops is like for monsters that like continuously running away like
can't be
Omega,
targeted
or
or
can't be
something
targeted. Double Called by the Grave. This doesn't come up a lot unless I'm like going first, but just to make sure my plays go off, that's what I like to use. And then the one Hate Trunade for Sky Striker nonsense, and then the extra Toon Twister because I'm a going second deck.
Gotcha.
And if I know I'm going second and you're back row heavy, I'm just going to kill you.
Now, question. I know you don't have the cards, but I was just curious since you play dinos and whatnot. Have you seen anything, and what's your thoughts about it translating here to the TCG about Thunder Dragon dinos? I've seen that's a thing, but I was
have
just
looked
curious.
into it. I'm not going to say that it's awful. You're still relying on the dinosaur cards a lot, but being able to resolve your Thunder Dragon Ryo plus any one of your big dinos is pretty strong. I would have to play the deck some more myself before I can recommend it, but on paper, it's pretty solid.
So you like the concept, but you need to test it out, is what you're saying?
Yeah. I will say this much, though. The pure dinosaur variant, unless they hit you with Rivalry of Warlords early game, you're just never going to care. The Thunder Dragon variant of dinosaurs, you will actually cry.
Yeah, and
so
the good thing about this version is you do have Pankratops to get around those, you know, fairly easily.
So if you want to do Thunder Dragon dinos, you need outs to deal with Rivalry, is what I'm going to tell you right now.
Understood. Well, thank you very much, man. And until next time, guys, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling, and thank you again, Miss IL, for this beautiful playmat. And we'll see you guys next time.